Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, can I get a good morning back, please?
Good morning.
That's it. So, the topic today, what I have, is a lot to do with the buzz which you are hearing today. Artificial intelligence, which is now broken down into ML and TL. Machine learning, deep learning. You see, the reason I wanted to talk about this topic to this right bunch is, this is what the world you're getting into. But I questioned myself, is that what we need? Workforce automation, jobless future, the story of our next generation, built on machines, the entire termination phobia. That's the word, that's the talk. Facebook's AI research stopped because they were talking gibberish. And then I spoke to my global friends, because when nobody was doing this, we had been doing this knowing there was no future. And I questioned, what is human intelligence? IQ, EQ, LQ. Intelligent quotient, emotional quotient, love quotient. So, how we will spend the next 27 minutes is based on why I and a fair amount of technology evangelists, researchers in the world think that, yes, there is a world where AI has a very strong part to play. But what are our triggers? What are our catalysts? What are our stimulants? We started this work few months back, almost about a couple of years now. What we started decoding is intellectual quotient, emotional quotient, love quotient is greater than ML and DL. How? When the how part comes the story of a normal human being in our city. He wakes up in the morning, goes to the washroom with his smartphone. First thing he does, or she does, is check his WhatsApp, then his Facebook, then his LinkedIn. Checks out what's in Instagram, maybe Twitter. That's how we are waking up. Not reading the newspaper, which is fine because the news feeds are there. What happens if that is taken away today? Because that's going to become the DNA of our day-to-day lives. Then he comes out of the washroom, has his breakfast, gets into the car. In a certain mind space, what did he or she think about it? Why did I fight first thing in the morning on WhatsApp with my boss? On Facebook, I am prompted with friends I have not spoken for months. It's trying to talk to my latest contacts, and also I can see my driver is trying to send a connect. So I'm in a confused state of mind. I get into the car. Once I get into the car, what happens is I go back to my work emails, which is integrated with my smartphones. I open up my laptop. But funny enough, when I go into Gmail, I start seeing trends appearing on sponsored links, which is what I have been clicking around in the last 3 days. How does a Facebook try a pattern match technique to the sensibilities of my emotions? How does a Twitter feed and an Instagram feed keeps on giving me subjected feed of people I want to know? Maybe when I wanted to log into Amazon Prime or Netflix, they keep on recommending, they're trying to know me. So the current algorithms, the current DL, the MLs are part of our life. Without us knowing, they have crept in our heads. But what are they trying to control? They're trying to control my mood swings. They're trying to control my emotions. They are also trying to control my decision making. Decision making is also trying to be controlled. Now, what do intelligent people will start doing? They'll start applying their head. The IQ, logical thinking and derivation through numbers of how this can be avoided or I can use this. I am an entertainment star. People want me to work in alternative media. Why can't I segment, create a data science and target that audience on social media and follow? They can follow my patterns. They can follow my mood swings. I take control than them taking over my mood. That's where, take a pause, hold that thought. 1943 was very important to us. 1943 is when two research scientists took 100th part of our brain, put it in a mathematical model, computed, and what got created was artificial neural network. Not in the last 5 years, not in the last 20 years, before our independence, before the world was very different, people started thinking how cognitive intelligence can be used. The reason why we have not been able to get to where we are is one. When a kid starts walking, he stutters. When he stutters, he falls. But he does walk in the next 24 hours. Mother and father is not teaching that kid. When a dog, after his birth, is thrown in the water, it starts swimming. How? The consciousness of our nervous system and our neurons is 100x times more than the AINs, the AINs, the artificial neural network, which is what is being conceived today. How can those algorithms, how can those deep image processing algorithms, voice recognition algorithms, how can those data processing, 3D AR, VR driven recommended algorithms be controlled? Left brain, our creative side, emotional quotient. Right brain, our logical self. The data, the computation. How do I calculate when, how long will it take me to take the Uber to go to X? Or the flight, 2 hours, 40 minutes. The data starts thinking. Human beings start thinking. They dissect the data. We dissect the data. We create the mathematical models based on which recommendation techniques, suggestive techniques, based on which voice recognition, image recognition gets built. They will self-learn. Do follow what we are seeing in the world of Google, in the world of Facebook. How they are trying to make the algorithms self-learn. At the end of the day, it's data fed by us. Millions and petabytes of data. If we control that structured data, those algorithms become smarter. They learn quickly. But at the end of the day, it's the human consciousness which controls the mathematical model of artificial intelligence. Hence, my talk was today, IQ versus EQ plus LQ is greater than ML plus DL. Do we agree or not? That's why it is important for you guys to understand that what the buzz you hear, the whole thought process of what the tech companies are telling you, the media tech companies are telling you, you have to decode that, because this generation is got the power to decode and control those algorithms. When you don't control algorithms, there could be vulnerability because it's our data at stake. But if you control the algorithms through your own conscious self and through your own conscious mind, you maneuver them. Your head is the remote. You might be thinking, have we reached the cusp or are we where? No. Intelligence quotient and EQ has become so important that BCI work is ongoing. Brain-computer interface. The smartphone, the smartwatches are out of the league. 10 years down the line, we will have a little chip, might be external, which will try and project a holographic image of how I want to take the taxi, then how I want to get over from and get some food, and then on my way back, which friend I want to connect and meet over WhatsApp. The BCI would be controlled purely by what we think. That's where we want to get to. Now, you have to think and decode why this formula is going to work and the execution part of this formula. What do we do when we do data science work? What do we do when we do algorithm-driven recommended work? We know the data, collect the data, mine the data, and understand the data. Our conscious mind and our data, which personally I think is going to be the currency which is going to take over oil and rest of the world. Bartering might come in when you have data. Data, consciousness, and emotions. Human beings by default are full of emotions. I control what I want to see, and I might let it indulge and let myself wait and see what else can I see. We still do that. When you log into any of your platforms of today, what we see today is a plethora of data in various segments and forms. Could be audio, could be video, could be movies, could be text, could be completely images. And that is a plethora. As of now, there are work going on where they're trying to match the basics. Google's DeepMind, if you go back and see, are trying to match the basics. They're trying to teach that algorithm how to walk and run, and it's doing pretty fine. Certain algorithms coming up from OpenAI and Facebook are teaching us how to communicate. So we are talking gibberish of code which is not decodable right now. You can't decode it, but there is a pattern which is starting to flow. There is emotions what is required. We can do that just by analyzing the data on a day-to-day basis in our normal lives. We control the cognitive consciousness of the algorithm world. Don't let the algorithm world impact your mood swings. Get off Facebook for 25 days and see what happens. Get off WhatsApp. Go to the traditional good old phone. Your mind is far more at peace because you're cut off. That's how we used to be. That's how, when we used to be like that, when our pure IQ and our EQ and our heart full of emotions, in a calm, conscious self, we invented the greatest things on this planet. Dr. Jagadish Chandra Bose, who is a guru in my community, now being probably retrofitted and given the award for the frequency on which 5G is going to work. মানুষটা এখান থেকে 10 কিলোমিটার দূরে বসে থাকে. Marconi was given that work. That is right now getting questioned by the global tech community. That the 5G frequency of Dr. Bose is the true sense. He didn't have WhatsApp. He didn't have Facebook. All he did was try, research, good old text and content. Give it up for that man. A round of applause, who is probably the most. So, coming back, that is what people like us want to take control of. That is what people like us want, people like you, to start thinking. The ideation of what we want to do with taking data, use your IQ, EQ, LQ, and control MLDL the way we want to impact lives. If there is poverty, if there is education not in hand, there is a change you will impact when you're controlling those algorithms, because you control them. You feed data based on satellite research, based on food health research, based on algorithms you will build. You will be able to predict the next crop pattern. You will be able to predict the next tsunami. Fair amount of the world is doing. It is unbelievable what amount of data right now you guys are getting exposed. I call this generation the digital natives. You don't need transformation. You are born as digital natives. What I plead you guys to do is beware of what you want to control, because that's what we did when we were young. We analyzed the data. That's why Mensa's existed, the IQ test. That's why EQ came into conversation. That's why in interviews, people only don't look at degrees. People look at the attitude that individual has. That's why people identify people like Bill Gates. That's why people identify people like Steve Jobs. They needed to be power. Us did that. Not a ML, not a DL. Then they created the world of ML and DL where they impact people's lives, industries, the growth of the human generation, the growth of where civilization will grow based on what we decide to do with that part of the world, which we will not be able to control from growing. But they can't grow in silo. They need our this. So thank you for listening me in, and hope you think about it.